This topic for today is meant to be a guide for SMEs and the implementation of AI receptionist technology. This is something that's been getting a lot of coverage online and a lot of YouTube videos and articles about this, how businesses can automate their phone answering system. Now, whether or not that's a good idea overall, that's a separate question, but it's true to say that many businesses do miss out on customers because they're just not able to answer the phone every time a call comes in. Now, is there a view from the customer that this is less personal, or this is not something that that the general public wants to experience? Actually, a lot of evidence shows that this kind of AI receptionist can be effective, and especially for businesses that are a bit resource constrained. So if you're not a large business, if you don't have lots of employees and you can't afford to have someone on the phone 24/7 or even 8 hours a day, then this is a potentially interesting solution to help pick up a few customers that might have been missed, that rather than not getting an answer will then go from your business and then call up the next business and the next until they find someone who answers. Maybe because the AI bots are getting that good where in fact they can converse with people in a natural language style. So what kind of possibilities does that present for businesses, and what are the steps to looking into and implementing a system like that? So what is the business case for this? I kind of mentioned some things already, and the main focus here for SMEs is on the revenue leaks, which are caused by missed phone calls. And customers, new customers in particular, rarely call back. And so the proposed solution is then the AI receptionist, which tends to mitigate this risk through these three main capabilities. First of all, its ability to facilitate natural, fluid conversations using advanced AI or large language models. And it's able to automate then essential functions such as lead qualification and appointment booking without requiring human intervention. Finally, the third key area is its rapid implementation. A weekend task versus a lengthy IT project. This can be done in a relatively short period of time. Of course, there's some time that's necessary after the system is implemented to further train the LLM. But in this case, it can be done fairly quickly. It's accessible to small businesses, and the running costs are also not substantially lower than what it would cost to have a full-time receptionist, for example. So before looking into the technical implementation, it's always a good idea to consider the strategic implications and just what is the role of this AI receptionist going to be in the organization. So effectiveness will hinge on having a clearly defined job to be done. And to do that, it can be helpful to categorize primary call scenarios into three different types. So first, there's lead capture and qualification. There are transactional tasks like scheduling, and informational or FAQ handling. So when customers just have a quick question, they can call in, and if this question is basic and normal to the business, then this can be trained in the LLM and handled very effectively by the AI. So this also introduces the constellation of escalation matrix. So this is a framework determining when a call must be transferred to a human. So the matrix is typically governed by predefined triggers such as high priority complaint keywords, high value sales signals, or when an AI's complexity threshold is reached or exceeded by the customer's query or the conversation or even their conversation style. There is a cutoff point where the AI can then transfer, either schedule a call for a later time or transfer the call directly to an individual on the other end of the line. So there are three dominant infrastructure models for AI receptionist services. The first is pure AI platforms, which are typically optimal choice for SMEs, which aim to prioritize human-like interactions, and rapid deployment is a key part of that. Second is the UCaaS add-ons, so unified communications as a service, which are suitable for businesses already integrated into communication platforms like RingCentral or many others out there, which aim to offer seamless integrations, but typically with a per-minute surcharge. So the third approach is the hybrid services, which combine a sort of AI triage with human agents on standby, providing a sort of safety net for calls which are deemed to be high value or high stake, especially useful in law or finance or similar areas where there's a very high value profession. So this option, while offering maximum security, does come at substantially higher cost. Of course, there's a whole infrastructure and team that have to be implemented along with that. And so a careful cost-benefit analysis should be part of the plan in determining which of these infrastructure options are best for a business. So from a technical implementation perspective, there are a few key steps to consider and to set up and to prepare for. First is the number provisioning, which is either porting an existing number to an AI provider, process which typically takes a few days, and but the more common, probably for small businesses in particular, is the conditional call forwarding, and which seamlessly redirects unanswered calls to the AI and prevents service disruption for setting that up. The second area that's important for preparation and probably the most critical is building the knowledge base. So the AI's intelligence, of course, is directly proportional to the quality, in some cases quantity, of data provided. Therefore, constructing a comprehensive knowledge base using PDF documents, FAQs, spreadsheets, or business rules and procedures and manuals and other information that other content that the business has created and perhaps put publicly available on its various social media channels. All of these can be used, of course, again, making sure it's quality information that's relevant to the use of the AI receptionist service. But all of that is fundamental to setting up the business and carrying the service forward. Another technical consideration which requires a little bit of time for setup is the systems integration. So to elevate the AI receptionist from a simple answering service to a business tool, it's got to be integrated with existing systems. So we're looking at a couple of key examples. For example, CRM integration. So with AI can typically be integrated with a system like Salesforce or HubSpot, which will enable the AI to personalize its interactions and help to identify existing customers and help to streamline the lead management and by automatically creating new records from the call transcripts. Another common example is the calendar integration. So by granting the AI write access, it's possible to automate the entire scheduling process from the call, and the AI then takes care of this directly with the customers and creates a schedule based on the customer's feedback on times that are suggested and based on the open schedule that's already in the calendar. And from there, once the system is set up, the AI implementation can be, often is, and actually should be, over time, an iterative process. So it's not just a one-time, but that the system is improved in stages and ensuring long-term effectiveness. So the process begins essentially with what they often call a 30-day burn-in period for initial data collection and performance analysis. So this is then followed by a systemic stress test where the system is challenged with various scenarios like heavy accents or interruptions to help make the model more robust and handle a wider variety of situations. And then there is, of course, the continuous analytics review, which is also an essential part of the process where key metrics are being monitored, abandoned call rates are followed, and during greetings or what part of the call is the call then abandoned, are data points that can be brought in to help improve the system, and then tweaks can be made. For example, shortening the introduction or optimizing the phrasing or other parts of the user experience, and to improve the system performance. Now, a business should be looking into what are the benefits of the AI assistant from a financial perspective. Certainly before the system is implemented, there is a prospective view about how many missed calls and what if a certain percentage of these missed calls can be converted into a customer and what is the value of that. And then after the system is implemented, what is the actual result? So the ROI, return on investment, is probably the most important statistic to capture. First of all, it requires to understand what is the revenue capture that has come about as a result of the AI, as a result of the 24/7 operations going from an 8-hour potential answering period to a 24-hour answering. How many additional calls are brought online? How many additional appointments come as a result of that? Then there is the labor savings part of the calculation, understanding the annual cost of the AI system versus the annual cost of the personnel. And this can be taken from two approaches, either the theoretical, so an example, comparing the cost of what would be if there was a 24/7 staffing and what the cost of that would be. Of course, that makes the AI jump up quite substantially. Or alternatively, if there are staff that can be whose services can be redirected in other areas that are themselves value added, that bring more revenue or cost savings into the organization, and what's the value of this redirection of the staff. And yeah, you can also calculate what would be the savings if a staff was let go. That's area. Again, what we really want to do is not look at the savings so much in terms of cost. It's a question of, if a business has employees that are adding value to the organization, the question is, how can they add more value to the organization? And so that's why, in a way, I tend to discourage looking at it from an employee cost savings perspective, but rather looking at how the employee can be redirected, how those resources can be redirected more effectively for the organization, and being able to quantify that. And then there's the other consideration in terms of scalability, where the AI can handle potentially unlimited number of calls. And so what does that mean in terms of the marketing pipeline? If you can spray out more advertisements or have a stronger outreach and bring in more customers, the AI can handle that additional scale in business activity. And so what's the potential value of that? So these are all key considerations that can go into the ROI calculation. So when it comes to then implementation, there are a few key features that many AI receptionist systems offer that can be adjusted or fit into the system. So for example, the voice tone. What sort of voice is going to be used in the AI receptionist call? Is it going to be a male or female voice, or what kind of personality? And there are several different options that a business owner or a team will have. And so that's one of the first. Which of these, ultimately, the question is, which of these voices is more appropriate to the type of business and the brand identity that the business wants to cultivate? Multilingual support is another area that can be applied and adapted if the business operates in areas that are multilingual. SMS follow-up is another feature that can increase engagement by the customer. It can be set to automatically send a response after the call. And as we love these robocalls that come into this, good news is AI is giving us a solution and can filter out spam calls or robocalls. And so these kinds of settings can also be included as part of the setup. So bringing all of this together, there are definitely some key advantages for implementing an AI receptionist system, particularly in the area of 24/7, 365 coverage, which it enables. And hopefully a business then would get fewer missed calls and potential revenue directly as a result of that capability. Zero wait time on the call. Certainly there's no need for that outbound music that customers get tired of hearing, so they just get the call and it's answered right away. And then in terms of scalability, which allows the businesses to manage higher volumes of customers. So if that is the bottleneck toward the organization, bringing in customers and in terms of calls or whatever the first contact point or contact channel is, then this is a key area that AI can benefit and help a business expand. So that is a summary of the implementation for an AI receptionist. Maybe one of these days I'll put together a video that actually follows through on the details. It's actually not that difficult, but there are a lot of little tedious pieces of data and connections between different systems that have to be made. It can be a little bit tricky to get through the process, but in many cases, the most important part of it is the strategic considerations and the information that is fed into the LLM that's going to ultimately decide how effective the system is in its following the implementation. So it's a fascinating journey. I'm really intrigued by these capabilities and seeing what businesses do with that. And so all the best on the journey, and thanks for tuning in. Have a great day ahead.